Hi, I'm Christy from the Call of War podcast and YouTube channel. And if you saw my second diary video, which came out last week, I'll just put it up in the top corner there. You'll know that I've been thinking about going into karting mode for the next month or so. I'm basically going to be taking a path that follows an accelerated, if you pardon the pun, path of a normal racing driver, where I start with karting and then move up through the formula either to open tops or tin tops. We'll see how we go. And what I was going to do was get kart sim in R Factor 2, but eventually I decided just to take a punt on KartKraft, and I'm really glad I did. It's just amazing. So I thought I'd take you through a little bit of my first hour or two with the sim just now. And what you're seeing right now is me doing the basic time trial mode. And the time trial actually is very cleverly done. What I'm showing is the basic one, which is the same as every other time trial mode. You're basically on the track alone, going round and round and round, which I love. Just shaving seconds or milliseconds off your time and learning the racing line as you go. And it's incredibly well done. One thing to note in terms of the authenticity is just listen to that wind noise. They've got so much detail in here in terms of the tires screeching and everything. It just meshes so well with the physics, and the physics are incredibly well done. They've worked really hard on this, and it really shows. Okay, so this is just an example of me racing. More specifically, these two clips are just me crashing, because I firmly believe that it's actually better to see crashes in order to see what the handling's really like, or at least spins and offs. You can get a better idea of how things handle that way. So I think this one is just... I do a 180 at some point as I'm coming round one of these corners. I get a bit leery and bump into that guy on the way through. Just getting a little bit overeager to pass. Yeah, there we go. Got it on the grass and spun round. So you can kind of see that it will flip round on you if you get it wrong. But it is also, like there, controllable on the grass, except when you turn yourself upside down. So I've deliberately included some of the load times as well, because on SSD these load times are blisteringly fast. And this is the other time trial option. This is Face Off, and I absolutely loved this. I can't believe this hasn't been done in other games. Essentially what it does is it takes the player above you and sets them against you on the track in a time trial, and the time trial ends as soon as you beat them. So that guy, Dobbs, was above me on the leaderboard, and in VR that was him at face height, standing in front of me, so that was really quite effective. And yeah, so I this is me kind of warming up to the first lap, and I'll get onto the hot lap in a second, but this is the best hot lap feature I've seen in any racing game. I cannot believe it's in a little 15 quid early access Steam sim. So I think I include a couple, maybe 3 of these guys. It doesn't take very long at all. Just see me twitching out of control a little bit, so he gets back at me there. So I've lost this lap, so I need to go around again. So I'm decent around that first double apex. One thing to note is I didn't, in VR, although you see my head movements and all that kind of stuff, in VR I couldn't see the mini-map, and I actually couldn't see proximity in the races either. There's a little proximity warning. Right, so I've beaten him there, so there's celebrations, and that's fabulous. And there we go, that's me beating the guy who's above me in the leaderboard. I can't remember, and there I am, 1,158th in the world in the X30 kart, 84th in the UK. I think the presentation's great. I think it's really polished. So this is the next guy, Nilo or Nilo. That quote underneath him, you can customize that. So it's not just the same thing. It's just people not being bothered to change it. So one of the things that I'm finding, and I was reading it in the Speed Secrets book that I was talking about in the previous video as well, is particularly with karts, the less movement you can do, the better. So, oh, I lost it there. So he's going to get, basically with karts, you need to keep momentum up. So any kind of slide that you do, no matter how cool it is time lost. And it's a lot of time lost. I'm making a mess of this first lap. So this is one of the reasons why I want to do karting sim racing for a month or two, is to build back up on the basics. Things like keeping the momentum going, minimizing on steering. So there I got around that corner with very little steering indeed, and I kept my speed up. If you try and steer too much, you're scrubbing speed off every single time you do. So it's about being efficient with your movements. And that's a valuable skill to learn. And it's actually why the likes of Jensen Button are known for their smooth driving style. This is where it came from. So I got him again. And yay, celebrations. Honestly, this is, I cannot believe this hasn't been done anywhere else. I mean, if you know that it's been done somewhere else, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to see it. I think it's a fabulous idea. This guy gave me trouble, so I don't think I actually beat him, but I'll show a couple of laps against him and see. And what I like about this is that this now gives me a challenge. This is the guy above me in the leaderboard, as of now, and I can work to get better, to beat him. I can try and get smoother, more consistent, and there's it much like with Assetto Corsa Competizione. There's a kind of measurable instant feedback. You know, if I get things right, I lose him in the corner. I can get ahead of him. If I get things wrong, he's going to overtake me instantly, and I just really like that. There's something about that that's really compelling for me. So yeah, there you goes. I wasn't doing too badly until there, where I lost it, got into a drift and lost a lot of time. But yeah. And now we're into the meat and potatoes, the actual race. Now with VR plus me recording, I only had 8 karts on. I think certainly online you can have 16 karts in a race. Even with 8 karts, it's pretty good. Like I say, the AI at the moment, I'm just trying to learn, much like an ACC, I'm trying to just learn to stay in the pack and not punt anyone off, or at least try not to get hit, that kind of thing. So I'm quite happy to stay on it, easy AI, and learn my racecraft. Should note we're in X30 karts, which are the little 35-ish horsepower karts, and and they're actually ridiculously fast. They're very, very fast indeed. So I couldn't find any acceleration details, but I know that they, get up to about 65, 75 miles an hour with your butt about an inch off the ground. The game also has shifter karts, which are a bit more powerful, and I know that they are not to 60 miles an hour in about 3.5 seconds, and they can do, in the right conditions, about 120 miles an hour. Again, with your butt an inch off the ground, with little to no protection, no seat belts, nothing like that. They are karts for very special people, that's for sure. You really did just feel like you could reach out and pat the guy on the back of the head as you passed them. It's just something you can't convey in 2 dimensions, even with you seeing my head movements. There's a feeling of solidity in VR, which you're not going to get by watching a video of it, unfortunately. And it just adds to the illusion in such an effective way. I found the handling to be really quite, from the times I've raced a kart. And before I go any further, let's be clear here. These are karts, not go-karts. My old man would be spinning in his grave if I called them that. He used to get really mad when people said that he raced go-karts. Go-karts are the little putt-putt lawnmower things that you get in entertainment parks. These are karts. They're a very, very different beast indeed. But from my experience of, many, many, many moons ago, having raced something akin to these things, it's incredibly realistic. This handling is the closest I've found in any game to what I experienced, and my experience is not great. I do it is weird, but I do wish my dad was still around to see this, because I think he would be absolutely blown away. He would be like Andretti and Fittipaldi being how old would he be now? About 70 years old or something like that. He'd be diving straight into this because it is just phenomenal. And there, I mean, I didn't win, but, I came second, and that was fine. I'm going to post up another slightly longer race. As I get better at staying in the pack and not getting punted over, I'm going to add a lap to the race each time the next time I do it. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, that's it for now. I will come back regularly through the month with updates and impressions, and probably like a full rundown of my experience with it in my next diary update, which I'm aiming for the end of June. Hopefully I'll have been able to implement quite a bit of the Speed Secrets book by learning this. There's a lot to it that I haven't covered. Like I say, the shifter karts I haven't touched. There's full setups. Anything you can see in the kart you can change. That's one of their taglines. So I'm going to be learning quite a bit about setups as well. Probably going to be plugging in my G29 shifter when I move on to the shifter karts as well. So that's going to be fun. One caveat I would say is that it's a very small development team. I can't say for sure. I thought I read at some point that it was just one guy. So development is quite slow. There's only 5 tracks at the moment, but this time last year I think there was only 3. And the game itself is polished. And if you are trying to learn, I honestly can't think of a better place to start. And hopefully, as you can see, I know it's choppy, but I was recording at the same time, and in game it wasn't really that choppy at all. The VR is really well done. So yeah, I think this has potential. And yeah, that's the end of the video. So please do like it if you liked it, subscribe if you like more of my videos. If you didn't like it, why are you still here? And stay safe, sane, well, and happy. See you later, folks. Oh yeah, and we do have a podcast. Look for Clod of War on all the major platforms. Bye.